cooking. It's cooking. Give it mio, give it cute. See, I need a, this is why I need a tripod. Okay, nice. Hello guys. Hey hey. This is my first time doing this. One. But first time is not a charm. This is definitely not a charm. So this is my first time doing this, right? And I'm gonna be taking questions. That's if there are questions. But then if there are none, I'm gonna be, because people ask me like questions on a daily basis. So I'm just gonna compile some of those and talk about them here, and because there's someone out there who also needs the same advice or is struggling with the same problem or one. So when I create this thing and then no one joins, the pain. But then I'm gonna give it 2 minutes. If no one joins after 2 minutes, it's either I'm cutting it off or I'm just gonna talk whatever comes to mind. Okay, let's talk. So I'm sorry guys, I had to write down. I knew this would happen whereby there are no questions, so I had to compile something that I'm gonna talk about in the meantime. So one thing I wanted to talk about, actually, that has been burning my heart, is ChatGPT, guys. So I wanted to talk about ChatGPT so much and how beautiful it is, like how that thing can enhance your studying so much. Like, I don't know, like as much as it is painted, not painted badly, but it's a thing where, oh, you're using ChatGPT, you use ChatGPT, but this thing is a tutor, it's a mentor, it's an every, like whatever you need when you're the reason you're watching this, you can get all those things from AI and out in the best way possible. But then I just want to explain on how it can, you can use it to getting in terms of your learning, like your everyday studying. That's the main thing I want to talk about. That thing is so important when it comes to your studying, especially when you don't understand something. Guys, normalize the use of ChatGPT, be it AI, be it ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini or Ndon. I think there are many different kinds of those things. Why not? No one is watching, but it doesn't matter. I was just saying, utilizing ChatGPT in the best way possible. That thing is so powerful. Like, I use it every single time for comp sci, not for it to code for me, but to help me understand the things that I code better. Like having to use it to explain a certain concept. That thing is so Queen B. No, the thing is, I'm not seeing any response. That's why. But I'm just saying that thing is so powerful. I used to use it last year for life sciences. I used to use it for life sciences. It's a thing, when you don't understand a concept, or even when you're lazy to study it, when you're lazy to study a certain concept or something, it's either you ask it to summarize it for you, or you ask it to explain a certain concept in that particular thing. Like, I've been using it so much, and there's a huge improvement, especially for a lot of us, where those people who can afford extra lessons, tutors and whatnot. Like, you can use this AI thing to transform your learning so much. Like, not exactly, but it definitely, like with maths, it works wonders. Like, I remember this one time I was using it to explain, I don't remember what it was in maths, but I asked it to explain the concept, and after explaining the concept, you literally ask it to give you the questions on that concept. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you are able to ask it to test you, like give me a test of what I can expect on this particular topic. You know what I'm saying? So it's a thing where I need to breathe. So it's a thing where you can use it for every single topic that you're struggling with, and you are able to get the best out of it. Like, you see those questions that you can't even ask your teachers, go to the AI and ask it, or Ejo, what did my teacher mean when he or she said this? I didn't understand this. And it's gonna be able to explain to you that particular section. Ejo, I'm struggling with this topic in maths. I'm struggling with utility and geometry. Give me some tips for 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 combating it, or rather, to just do it step by step. Euclidean is very unpredictable. It's something that it takes time to actually grasp and say, I know how to answer Euclidean geometry questions. So such things, you can get tips from AI. You can get so much. Like, I don't want to lie, like, try and use it as much as possible, obviously, for not for it to do work for you, but to help you understand the work that you are supposed to do. As much as vele it's a thing we need to develop our minds to think and don't. Sometimes that doesn't work most of the time. I won't lie, it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, obviously it's a thing you need someone. And when you look left, you look right, there's no one to ask. It's 12 a.m, I'm studying, I don't understand what I'm doing, and there's no one around me to ask. So open that AI, be it ChatGPT, be it Copilot. Obviously they have different levels, but I mainly use Esan. Why is the comment section disappearing? Okay, with Meta AI, that's a good question. With Meta AI, I've never used it that much. But what I know is that when it comes to maths, as much as it can explain its examples, remember, it uses artificial intelligence as it uses a certain format when it answers things, or like the way the things are structured. You can't really use it for maths. It'll give you some weird code symbols that are there and you won't understand. The one that I recommend is definitely ChatGPT. Meta AI, you can use it for your theory subjects. You can definitely use it, and it'll do so. Like, you will see that there's a difference. Like, if you're actually studying something in your textbook, you read a certain line, and then let me open this book. You read a certain line. This thing says, soldier did not. Ay, man. Okay, that's a bad example. But I'm just trying to say, you read something and it doesn't make sense. And you go to that thing, you're like, what did my textbook mean when it said this? Please help me understand that, and also help me understand other concepts that are related to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, other closely related concepts to this thing, help me understand. And it's gonna help you so much. Like, try and utilize that thing, guys. I see so many people having breakdowns, saying, I'm never gonna understand this topic, I don't know what's going on. Try it out. As much as it's there, we're like, yo, AI is gonna, don't, it makes you lazy. That's the first thing that they say, but the first misconception, but it makes you lazy. But in my point of view, I really do feel like it helps us think. Obviously, we're supposed to think on our own, but if we were able to think on our own, we wouldn't be going to school where there are teachers. We wouldn't be going for extra lessons. You wouldn't be asking your friend or Chomi, help me with this here. Well, it's a thing where we can't really do things alone. And sometimes people are not available. Some people are not available to, in our proximity. We can't say, you can't wake up a teacher at 12 and say, I'm having a breakdown, I don't understand Euclidean. But AI is always there 24/7. Try and utilize that thing as much as possible. Ask it to give you questions. Like, artificial intelligence is as good as you feed it. It's as good as you feed it. I'll read you a comment in a second, Queen B. I just want to finish off here. I was just saying that intelligence, artificial intelligence is as good as you feed it, or is as good as it is. You see that, that saying, Barry, you are what you eat. That thing is what you feed it. So if I tell that thing, Hore, cancer is deadly, it's gonna go and tell everyone, or cancer is deadly. Like, feed that thing as much as possible. If you're struggling with maths, don't just say I'm struggling with maths. Be specific. Or edu in maths, I don't understand the topic, yeah, finance. Please look for question papers and analyze the structure of each and every one of those questions and tell me, how can I best master that topic? You know what I'm saying? And then it'll cook for you. It'll cook for you, and then you're like, give me an example question. And then it throws you with that question. If you don't know what's going on, say it instantly. Edu, I don't understand what's going on with this question. How do I start? Like, let's say this type of question comes in the exam. Where do I even start? It tells you. So first thing, look at the numbers that you are given, nyere nyere, pepe, things like that. It'll cook. So just try it. Let me read Queen B's comment. She said something. Udle, I'm writing on Thursday. What do you recommend I do to make sure I'm prepared properly? Because the amount of meltdowns I've had, meltdowns or breakdowns are very common with everyone, and you're not the first one. It's not only you or one. It happens to almost everyone. So just quickly type in what grade are you in, and you're writing math. Yeah, just quickly type in what grade you are in, and I wanna make examples related to that are very specific to you, to your grade, to your topics rather. But then with maths, to make to okay, grade 11, perfect. Ah, Maths grade 11. Let me see what I remember. Maths grade 11 kicks. That's one thing. Maths grade 11 kicks. Maths Watrapa. And one thing I can say, let's see, today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have time to prepare. You have a lot of time to prepare for it. Um, you always have breakdowns when you try to practice. You don't know where to start. Your mind, like, you try and look at a question, you sit down, but you just don't know what's going on in the question. You check the memo, it's also not making sense. And that's okay, it's a normal thing. But what I really do recommend from this day, today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have about 2.5 days to prepare. First things first, it's maths. Identify, what's going on. It's already had palpitation. Identify those topics that you struggle with the most. I don't like people coming to me and saying, Ejo, I need help with maths. You need help with maths. Do you need, and then I'm like, do you need help with algebra? But no, maths is algebra. So why didn't you say you need help with Euclidean geometry? So my first advice is to be as specific as possible when it comes to your practicing, and utilize I can't stress this enough. Use as much resources as possible. Like, if you see, the moment you open a question paper and you don't understand, note that thing, whatever it is. If it's in Euclidean geometry, you see, or I was looking at this question, I don't know what's going on, and it's literally 1.1.1. Nahano also like 1.1.1, it's going down. Well, so my first advice is to make sure you identify those topics. That's number. We haven't gotten to the practicing part yet. I haven't explained how you're gonna practice. But the first step is to make sure you know what is kicking you. You know yourself. We are now in September. You've seen your results. You've seen your marks. You know what you're struggling with. Wow. So those topics Again, you're gonna identify them. If it's Euclidean, I don't know you, but I know that Euclidean is one of those topics. Well, one. So, and so after you identify those different topics, right? The first step into to practicing, I really feel like we're now in September, it's term 3, right? Already you have a background on that topic. You know, if it's Euclidean, you know, or you know your theorems. That's all I'm saying. Maybe you might have forgotten the proofs and all that, but you know your theorems. So I don't want to say start with the basics. That's the worst advice I can give you right now, because already this weekend I know that you were practicing, you were trying to practice, but you were not understanding. Well, that's one thing I can say. So I'm not gonna say start with your basics. That's obviously the first advice a person could give you, or start with the basics and stuff. But with you, I really do feel like it's a thing of how do I put this thing? Focus on, obviously maths is all about practicing question papers, but try and identify the type of questions that kick you in a past paper. You know, one thing I can say, obviously me being outside of high school now, I can now see, but when I was inside I didn't see this. But one thing I can tell you, those papers are very, very repetitive. You see that thing that is kicking you right now, that thing has been repeated for the past 5 years. It has been kicking those people for the past 5 years, and it's the exact same question. They are all being asked to prove that what's that question in Euclidean again? Prove that the lines are parallel, prove that this is a parallelogram, prove that AB is congruent to CD. You see, those type of questions, those things have been around for the longest time. You're not the first one to experience the meltdown. So one thing I can say is that YouTube, that's the first thing. Obviously, the platform that you're on right now, utilize your YouTube to look for questions, not even to brush off your basics. You're at a point whereby no, so you don't have time. Hauna nako, my sister. So one thing I can say is that there are a lot of YouTube videos whereby they deal with questions, like they look at a question and they answer step by step of those questions. So, for example, you go to Kevin Math Science. Yeah, I haven't heard that guy's voice in a very long time. I miss high school, But yeah, you go to Kevin Math Science, for example, he's doing a question, right? Like one thing I love about that guy, he does questions, so many questions, and they're very short, right? So you go to that guy, you find that he's doing a question, right? He's doing a question, excuse me. The first thing you do, you pause. Now, this is where the mindset comes in. Think as if that question Kevin is doing is gonna be in your test on Thursday. Ejo, that question is gonna be there. So if you don't understand that question today, you are in danger. So you must pause that video before it even starts. Look at that question, see if you're gonna be able to answer it when it comes in the exam. Are you gonna be able to do it? That's the first mindset shift that you have to implement, or this exact question is gonna be in the exam. So what happens? What am I gonna do? Let's say today is the exam and you're looking at a question. Am I gonna be able to answer this thing? No. Why? And then you unpause. What's the opposite of pause again? I say unpause. Resume, that's the word I'm looking for. So you resume the video, you listen to that guy, you listen to every single thing that he's saying, listen to what he's saying, and then as you are listening, obviously you are absorbing the information on how to solve that type of question. But then let me tell you, one misconception that most people make is listening in the moment. Like, let me explain that. Like, you watch a video, you understand it, you're like, oh, and then you leave with that like you leave that information there. That's one thing that most people do, is that they understand something, but they don't take that with them to the next question. So what I usually do, or what I used to do rather, is that I would watch one video, yeah, Kevin Math Science, and I look for a very similar question. I scroll through my things, I look for a very similar question, and when I find that question, it's a thing where I try and implement what that guy said into that question, a new question. Like, for example, that question on prove that this thing is a parallelogram, prove that ABCD is a parallelogram. That's a very tricky question that needs your analytical skills, and you need to analyze the complicated Euclidean geometry, right? It's very complicated, but then at the same time, it's a thing where it's very easy to tackle it. In a sense, yeah, or if you hear what Kevin was saying, he said that first thing you do, you need to draw in the shape, identify all the theorems that you can see in that particular shape, and whatever he says, listen to that. And then as soon as that video is complete, take that information, look for a past paper that has a similar question. Now this also goes into the whole concept of exploring past papers. Explore different questions, not only the ones that are in your this makes me so mad. Not only the things in your classwork book, Joe, not only the things you see how like teachers like giving us worksheets, like questions that we work on. I know so many people that literally practice using that thing alone, and then but I'm ready for maths. Maths will slap at you. So try as much as possible to look for a variety of papers, like explore, Joe, and look for those types of questions. Obviously, try and see if you can answer it. If you can't, now it's a problem. You look for another one. You don't break down yet. Obviously, you want to break down. You're like, yo, I just watched that video. I went to this question, I don't understand. Mara, pause, don't break down yet. Look for another one. Look for one more. Like, give it two chances. Or look for one more question, and then try and answer that type of question. And then if you still can't, there's one thing I like doing most of the time. I like giving further advice, in a sense, yeah, or if what if that doesn't work? You know how like people give you advice and they're like, hey, do this. What if it doesn't work? Or what if I do it and then I don't see any change? Or well, so that's very important, the what if part. So if you do that question and it doesn't work, you need to what was I gonna say? You need to look for another question, right? And then if you look for another question and it's still your trapa, it means that topic is not yet established in your brain, or in your, I don't know, your thinking. You need to go back to videos now. You need to go back to videos. Watch another video of someone. I think I can name more than 5 different YouTubers who actually do past papers. Kevin Math Science does very good questions. There's this guy, Baraki. What's this guy's name again? Okay, this one is for grade 12, but his channel is grade 12 Math and Science. Most of the, Euclidean is very, is it's there's a section of Euclidean that is the same for grade 11 and grade 12. So you can check that out. The channel is grade 12 Math and Science. There's this guy, virtual tutorship. I don't know, if you have a chance, just try and write these names down, because I'm remembering them from the, yeah, I'm also coming to Mlungi, you see. I'm remembering them from the top of my head. There's this guy about give virtual tutorship, but then in this case, I'm just trying to name them in order of like past papers. You see, with Mlungi's Nkosi, he also does very good explanations, but in most of the cases, it's you starting from the basics. When I know, so you don't have time to start from the bottom. You're looking for questions. That's what I was saying. When we are now in September, your basics are most likely okay. Wawon. So he also does have past papers. You can also check on Mulungi's Nkosi. There's also this underrated channel. It's a couple, MV tutors, MV tutors. So you can also check it out. They have a bunch. They have a lot of past papers that they do. It's this man and his wife. They are both doing maths, which is very cute, man. Very demure. Once already demure de suga. But then yeah, there's MV tutors. Let me just think of one more. uh what's this guy's name again? Mfano. Levi, Bright Young Brains. That's also another channel. That guy is also helpful to some extent, right? So yeah, just try and utilize most of those, right? In a sense, yeah. Or if you feel like you haven't yet understood a topic, go back to a different channel, go to a different person, go to a different person. There are a lot right now at this moment. Okay, not right now because you're watching, but when you get time, if you google not google search on YouTube, prove that this is a parallelogram. You literally search that thing, you're gonna find a bunch of videos that actually explain that, do that particular question. Well, one, if you google, why can I don't google, if you search prove that AB congruent to CD, like you do those two lines there, you will find videos on that thing. There are also those rare type of questions, not rare, but they kick most people. It's for what values of x is in increasing, in decreasing. Those type of questions, you can also find them on YouTube. But with that one, for me personally, I didn't get help with that one on YouTube. What I recommend with that one is, if you have a good maths teacher, go to your teacher and ask them specifically, or say, or ma'am, can you explain the section on for what values of x? That section only, like you have a session with your teacher whereby they explain only the section on for what values of x, and you do a bunch of questions. And that's how personally I got good at that thing, to a point whereby till this day, if you give me a functions question and the last question is like, for what values of x is f of x greater than g of x, I'll be able to solve it, because I went to my teacher this one time and I asked him, and we sat down, I think for 30 minutes just for one question. That 2 marks. That's why I also emphasize on being as specific as possible when you are studying. Know what you are struggling with. You don't struggle with everything in Euclidean geometry. When it comes to your proofs, you can cram those things. You just cram, Joe. I don't know how. Cram the proofs and focus on the questions that are difficult. There's this other question that's like, give two other angles that are equal to x. That's a very easy question that you can do, right? You just have to look for them. What is e equal to? And then you find that the answer is very simple. The answer is angles in a segment, or something very simple. So it's you knowing yourself. That's why you know yourself. If you don't know yourself, we are now in September. Go through your files, look at your question, the papers that you've written, the 3 out of 50 tse o di kry-ileng. Look at those and see what question you got wrong, and see what you wrote. That's actually very important. If you have to take one thing from this video, before whatever exam or test that you write, go back to your most recent test, and don't just look at the question that you got wrong, but look at it and then see what you wrote instead of the actual answer, and understand why you wrote that. Because chances are, most of the time, what people do is that they repeat the same mistake, because it's more of a mentality. We cremile, or this is how the answer should be. Well, one, so try and see what you think like when in an exam situation, because trust me, you don't think the same right now when you're practicing, and when you're in the exam room, you're writing, your mind is a completely different thing. And then as soon as you work, that's why most of the time, most people, when they walk out of the exam room, they're like, oh, that was the answer, and you couldn't think about it at that particular moment. Why? Nobody knows. So try and analyze yourself. Know the type of person that you are when in exam situation, by going through your old papers, your most recent. If you got 3 out of 50, Exactly, this is what I'm saying. Like that's exactly how it is, and you can't control it. It's not something that you can say, okay, now in the exam situation, I'm more prepared for it. So it's a thing, yeah, just try and go through those. Don't let them embarrass you. Obviously those marks are a bit bad, they are sketchy, but look at them and see how you think. When you are in an exam, you think very, very differently. You think completely different. There's pressure, there's time. How cheganako, there's 5 minutes remaining. Kamo, you haven't done three questions. It's very, very different. And another, which leads me to another point. When kind of queen man, yo, what's going on now? You see now, ah, Queen B. Another thing I wanted to say is on, I'm sorry, is on how you should try and kabore, have you known, gebore ha fast, and I was basically just trying to talk on if this falls again, Kazama, I get it. But then yeah, I was just trying to talk on like having sessions whereby you imitate the exam. Like have that. You see how like your maths exams are 3 hours. Sit down for 3 hours, so in your room and sit down and do a full question paper. I don't know if you don't have the means to print it, you can still do it on your phone. But what I used to do is I just ask someone to print for me. I get 3 rand, 4 rand. You panda that 3 rand, you print the full November 2016, September ning ning. You print that question paper and then you sit down. You sit down, you have your question paper, usatanako, 3 hours, and start working on it. And after that, you mark yourself. Whatever mark that you're gonna get there is what you're gonna get in the upcoming test. And you need to think about yourself, or is this the mark that I really want? That's a very important step in self introspection, whereby you get to actually analyze yourself and say, yo, I literally just got 50 out of 150 in this paper and I'm sitting at home. Imagine what's gonna happen when it comes to the exam now. And what most people usually comfort themselves by saying, Mare, I the exam is gonna be different. Like they just, most people try and comfort themselves when it comes to like the reality. You can see over here, you are literally sitting at home and you got this mark. What's gonna happen when it comes to the exam? So it's a very tricky thing, and I really like talking about simulating exam conditions. Like when Queen B, you have like 3 days. If not tomorrow, then Wednesday. Just try and find a 3 hours somewhere whereby you put away your phone and do one. Yeah, Wednesday is actually the best day because tomorrow I'm assuming that you have to practice as much as possible. Tomorrow this time you should be practicing. And doing the alternation between YouTube and your past papers. You go to, so here's the process. I actually didn't explain the process properly. You open a YouTube video for a certain topic. You watch how they do that example. Don't watch YouTube videos that talk about basics. That's one thing. You don't have time when. So watch the YouTube videos that already cover a question paper. Watch that video, see how they do it, stop the video. I first, before you even see how they do it, pause it and think, will I be able to do this if it comes on Thursday? Your answer is no. Continue watching. It's a thing. It may sound like a very dumb thing. Like it actually does something on your mind. Like it stimulates it in a weird way, sort of. Like in a sense, yeah, or it gives you this weird motivation, yeah, or like just try it, you'll see. Like pause the video before you play it and say, yo, this exact question is gonna be in my exam paper or one. And then it's a thing, you pause the video, you watch how they do it, leave your phone. Okay, not leave your phone, look for a different paper, and then as soon as you find that paper, look for a similar question in that paper. don't actually, this comes like, it's a thing where most people, when they practice, they just do whole questions. Okay, to either 1.11 of algebra. I'm like, bruh, quadratic equation, that thing, you know how to do that thing. You know what I'm saying? There are more serious questions that you should be looking at, instead of looking at question 1.1, and you say you're practicing. You're not doing anything, because those are things that you already know, and you're giving yourself false confidence. Yeah, or I'm actually doing something, when in actual fact you are basically just training that one muscle that has already been developed. So look for those tricky questions. Skip a 1.1.1, go to 1.3. Usually 1.3 in algebra is that one tricky question. So go to 1.3, look at that question. A lot is going on here. Why is my phone vibrating? But it's fine. Go to 1.3. Usually 1.3, I can't give an advice on that question. It changes every single time. Apparently my teacher used to tell me, or it's that question that that they put to make sure not everyone gets 100%. Like that question, if you look at it first sight and you don't know what's going on, skip mnakwethu, skip mfanako high bona, skip that thing and go straight to your number patterns in question 2. Like that 1.3 will make you think. If you go to any 1.3 of any question paper, yes, they are doable, but they need their own session whereby you sit down and say, okay, right now I'm doing 1.3 questions. Well, so it's a thing here in the exam, don't waste too much time on it. Chances are you're not gonna, I'm not giving you like barking, I'm not demotivating you, but chances are you won't get it. Well, then I used to like struggle with them, and yeah, most of the time I would just leave them. Go to your question 2, and it's a thing here, and also we're talking about when it comes to the exam. Now when you get in there, folk, look at those questions. Obviously you get to question 2, 2.1.1, media manyane, calculate tn common number patterns. You do your thing there, t2 minus t1 and don't calculate. What's the next question? Calculate T20, calculate T20. I ask you to calculate T20. You do your thing. What will be the next question? What will be the term number at 305? You do that. So with number patterns, usually the first question is very easy, I won't lie. And then what comes after? Number patterns again, and then functions. Yo, functions. Yo. Functions. Hey. Let me drink water. So with functions is like any other topic, honestly. Like I always say this before I talk about functions, let me say this. And please, if there's one thing you take from this video, is this: like every single topic has a certain level of patience that you need to have when studying it. You see, when it comes to, what do I mean by that? When it comes to topics like algebra, that 1.1 question, Salawi since grade 10, grade 9. You've been getting that thing correct ever since. Why? Because from the moment they explained it, you knew what to do. It took you it didn't even take, you didn't even have a breakdown while trying to do the quadratic Ntoni. That's solve for X question. You never had a meltdown. But then we have topics like Euclidean, we have topics like trigonometry, which need an extended level of patience. This is what I always say. I always say that every single topic is doable, and it's very easy to get 100%. Just that when it comes to practicing, by the way, I never got 100% in maths. I'm just saying because I think that it's possible. But every single topic has a different level of patience, and you need to be patient with it. What one mistake that most people make is that the same amount of effort that they're putting in finance, the finance topic, they're trying to put the same amount of effort in Euclidean geometry. And Euclidean geometry needs an extended level of patience. You need to be patient with that thing until you crack it. I call it the breakthrough. The breakthrough with algebra. It didn't even take you 2 days to get to the breakthrough and break through the barrier, right? With topics like functions, you might get a few questions correct. Sometimes you don't. Well, one, it still needs some polishing. You need it need yo it needs yeah, it's almost time. My English bundles, they're coming to an end. But yeah, it needs an extended level more than algebra. Now we get to topics like trig. Trig, trig is very easy. Don't get me wrong, trig is very easy. Why is it very easy? When it comes to patience, if you sit down as a person, and say, right now, I'm gonna be practicing trigonometry alone. Trust me, in that session, you're gonna, I can't even say, like, you're gonna understand tricks so much. What most people do is that they sit down to practice maths. They don't sit down to practice a specific topic. That's the first problem. So why not today just try and sit down and say, this session that I'm doing right now, I'm not gonna be doing maths, but I'm gonna be doing trigonometry. And just tell me what happens after that session. I know I'm saying this because I know so many people who have literally come out of a trick session and they were like, yo, I understand so much after that. Obviously in the session you're gonna be having a lot of things. Watching YouTube videos. Go to your chat GPT if you don't understand it's a certain question or why they did it like that. That's also another thing. My mind is running around a lot. But then that's also another thing. If you don't understand a certain topic or a certain question rather in maths, take it as it is. Take the memo also and plug it into ChatGPT and say, I don't understand how they got here. That thing will explain to you each and every step. I don't understand how they got the 2. Why are they dividing by 2? Why are they dividing by 5? Those questions that most of the time you are scared to ask your teacher. Ask your AI. Ask ChatGPT those questions and it will answer. Well, one. So back to my point on what was I talking about? I actually forgot. Okay, I was talking on how different topics have different levels of patience, but I was talking about something. Actually, see, being talkative, I actually forgot what I was saying. But it's fine. If you remember what I was saying, just remind me. But just moving on, I was just talking on how different topics have different levels of patience. Oh, I remember now. I was saying have a sit down for trigonometry and say, right now I'm practicing trigonometry. Nothing else enters in the way. Focus on that topic. I am telling you, if you sit down and say you're practicing trigonometry for more than 2 hours and you come here and tell me or you didn't get something, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Sit down for trigonometry, guys. What most people do when they sit down, they just sit down to practice maths and they range their topics. Like they do one question on algebra or two, and then they move on, they do finance, jiggy jiggy, they're doing functions, jiggy jiggy, you are back to probability. Kure, they practice maths. That's the thing, Bobo. They don't focus on being able to master a certain topics. They try and master maths as a whole, and that's not how it works. You need to break break. I think I talked about this in one of my videos. Break down those things as much as possible. And when you break down, when you sit down and say, I'm having this session and I'm only gonna focus on probability questions, I swear, if you spend more than 2 hours, 2 hours plus doing only probability questions, you're gonna gain so much from that session and you're gonna find it so fruitful. So you're gonna be doing this for every single one of your topics. Every single one of your topics that you struggle with. If you struggle with trig, you're gonna do that for trig. Spend 2+ hours. If you can, extend it. Spend as much as possible on that particular topic. You do that for every topic, and then later in the year you'll find that you don't need to do that anymore, because that one session that you once had, was so fruitful that you don't have to go back to your basics again. So just try and have those one-on-one, not one-on-one, but single topic sessions whereby you focus on that particular session alone and do past papers on that session alone. Yeah, like you literally open a question paper and focus on that particular question, and you do that for many questions. And at the end of that 2 hours plus session, if you didn't spend less than 2 hours in that session, it didn't work because you didn't do anything. Spend 2 plus hours, obviously with breaks in between, but the main thing still stands. Or do that session, but then more than 2 hours while you're strictly focusing on that topic, and I guarantee you're gonna find it extremely fruitful. You're gonna find it extremely fruitful, I won't lie to you, especially that one topic that you're struggling with. When it comes to something like Euclidean, I was about to talk about functions, but yeah, I'll go to it now. When it comes to something like Euclidean, it's a very broad topic. So when you have those one single topic sessions, you're gonna have to split Euclidean geometry still. You're gonna have to sit down and say, right now I'm doing a 2 hour plus session on that question airing prove that this is a quadrilateral. You're gonna have to spend 2 hours plus focusing on that question alone and see what you do, see what your mind can do. Our minds are so I'm going too deep now. But then yeah, spend that much time and focus on those single topics, and you will see how you get better at maths overall, even though you were focusing on that particular topic. Well, what most people do is that they combat everything, and different topics have different levels of patience. Like I said, the same amount of effort that you spend for trig won't be the same for functions. Functions, maybe you might catch it quicker and you get your breakthrough wapasa. But when it comes to trig, it needs more patience. Those identity questions prove that left hand side is equal to right hand side. You need to do a lot of those. You need to do a lot of those in order to actually get it. So try and implement that into your routine Managa, and see what comes out of it. Yeah, I've been spitting, yo. But then one thing, okay, I was going through the maths question paper, talking on functions. I was just saying it goes back to my point on how different topics require different levels of patience. So if you're struggling with a topic like functions, um, I would say I don't have specific tips, honestly, especially for maths. With other subjects, I can give you specific tips. But when it comes to maths, practice is the only word I can give you. Like honestly, I don't want to lie to you. Obviously, it goes down to how you practice, but the main thing still stands, or practice. How you practice and how long you practice. I think there was a video on. Wait, did I post it? Yeah, I did. The video on getting better at maths. I did post it, and I was talking on how what did I say again? I said you have different types of people who study for long hours, and the other one studies for like 2 hours, yet they get higher marks. It's because of the method that they're using. So I don't want to go out giving my method specifically, or you must do this. You need to identify yourself. There's also another step, guys, in high school as a whole. You need to know yourself. don't do what other don't do what someone else is doing. Yes, you can get some tips here and there, but try and know yourself as much as possible. No worry, this method didn't work for me. This is what works for me. Like, you find that I'm giving advice here, and then you implement that advice, and then five other people are giving advice, and then you take that also, you bring it in. Kur, like, try and as much as you can try those different methods, try and find what works best for you. And herere, when how do you study? You know how, like, genius people, not me, like genius people, they always get asked, or how do you study? When are we gonna ask you, or how do you study? Let's ask you now. how do you study? And then you don't know. Well, like you do know, but it's not constant because you keep on seeking validation, or not validation, that's not the word. You keep on seeking advice from other people. Yes, it's good to seek advice, but then at the end of the day, at the end of the I don't know at the end of the what, but you need to identify yourself, know yourself. Imagine yourself in someone else's shoes and they ask you, or how do you study? I wanna be like you. Imagine someone comes to you and they're like, I wanna be like you. Anyway, now you're getting 3 out of 150 and someone wants to be like you. So try and establish yourself. Time is going, it's now September, very soon it's your finals, and when now you're at a point whereby it's been 8 9 months and you still don't know the method that works best for you. So it's time is going, guys. There's no time to keep on seeking study tips, or like there's no time to keep on seeking study tips and asking different people how they study. That's something you should have done at the beginning of the year, and by now you should be having a permanent study method that works for you. So yes, you can continue watching the videos, but all I'm saying is that gather that information. You've watched more than 10 videos on how people study this year, but you're still in the same place. Well, one, so try and take that information and build yourself. It's like, okay, I can't think of an example, but you get my point. You get what I'm saying. Try and take that information and create your own study method to a point whereby when we get to the finals, you don't want to be at a point whereby when we get to the finals, you are still here on YouTube looking for videos on how to study. Nah, that's not demure. That's not, but again, demure. That's not demure, man. Come on. Oh, so by now you need to identify yourself and keep on practicing that method. Keep on practicing that method and see the results. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. There are methods that we have been using since grade 10. There are methods that you've been using to study since grade 9. And with those very methods, you are still getting your 3 out of 150. It's not changing. Mari, you are still continuing. You are still continuing. Oh, well, that's one thing. So please try and evolve as a person. You are one or this is not okay. You can't see. That's the main reason why I'm trying to talk about this. Most people can't see that this is not working for them, but they still continue to do it, and they're like, I'm bad at math. You're not bad at math. The method that you're implementing to practice math is what makes you bad. So try and explore different methods. Don't say it's not for me. Don't say flashcards are not for you. Don't say teaching other people is not for you. What are other methods? There are so many study methods out there, guys. Like, just try as much as possible. Like right now, or even if you don't have time, just Google or just search on YouTube all the different study methods. Like literally search all the different study methods and watch all of them, and implement all of them one by one. Now, I don't want to be at a point whereby during final exams, I'm here advising people on how to study for maths for your finals. I'm literally going to give the exact same tips that I've been giving. Like you see the tips that you see on my video on how to practice maths, whereby I tell you to focus on specific topics. It doesn't change when it comes to your finals. It's still the exact same thing. So don't go around seeking advice now and then. You come back seeking motivation. Build yourself. Imagine what if someone was to write a story about you. What are they gonna say when it comes to your academics? How do you handle pressure? How do you handle your emotions? How do you study when individually as a person? Wow. So it's a very long process. I can go jaha. I'm not pressurizing you or anything, but I'm just making you realize the ability that you have. Everyone is unique. Aratwan, you study better at night. I study better during the day. Someone doesn't know when they study better. Someone doesn't even study. We're all different. You know what I'm saying? So it's a thing you must know yourself, and Obviously there are other factors that come into place when it comes to things like this, such as motivation. Like, you do want to change, you are someone who does want to change, but every time you just sit down to study, you look at the questions, you just don't know what's going on. Or that's a very common cry among students. Like, I look at the question, I just get stuck, I get demotivated, I go back to my bed, I sleep, I wake up. It's the same process every single day. And it's a thing by with procrastination, which I actually don't think is procrastination. When you tell yourself you're gonna do it later, you are being, how do I even explain this in a very polite way? Like, I don't wanna say you're being dumb, but you're being dumb politely. Well, in a sense, your procrastination is something that I definitely would say we all deal with. I also procrastinate. I'm also dumb sometimes. But it's a thing, Yahore. Joe, how do I put this? You need to be aware of the moment. Be aware of the moment and why you are procrastinating. Because you can't be, oh, Konje, my phone is here. I wanted to make an example and show you guys something, but you can't be on your phone the entire day and say, I've been procrastinating. Do you think that if your phone was not there, were you still gonna say the same statement, yeah, or I'm procrastinating? Definitely not. You know what's causing you to procrastinate. You know that you strolling on TikTok the entire day is what you consider as procrastination. And it's not really procrastination when you know what it is and you can solve it. Delete that TikTok, or if it's what causing you to procrastinate, and you won't have that problem again. If you can't, if there's things like, I honestly feel like I'm at a point whereby I've went through so many causes of procrastination. Like, there was a time I procrastinated while listening to music. Like, I was listening to music, and like, it's a thing you already, especially when it's like AirPods or earpods, whatever they call them, when you put those things on and a nice song is playing, it's either you put it on repeat or you want another song. You know that period whereby you put that song on repeat and you just play it over and over when you know you should be studying. So that's also another common thing that people procrastinate to. You procrastinate listening to music. You keep replaying that song because it's your favorite. Hey Joe, stop listening to it. That's one thing. It's very painful, obviously, letting go. That's a very painful thing. But but we're talking about your marks here. So I'm more into identifying what causes the procrastination than beating procrastination. I don't think anyone can beat procrastination. Like, honestly, that thing is very, yeah, it happens to everyone. But all I'm saying is that identify what causes you to procrastinate. And obviously, we have the procrastination whereby you delay your tasks, and then we have lack of motivation. Like, we have people who, they don't procrastinate, they want to do their work, they are there, they are sitting, but I just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? And that one is very tricky. I can't even give advice on that one, because even when it happens to me, most of the time I don't know what to do. Like, I just sit down, I look at the question paper, I look at the textbook. Kurka bore, I open it and then I close it. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have the energy. And then some people, what they do, they drink energy drinks and stuff. But yeah, I'm not in that group. I don't do that. But because, let me give my opinion on the energy drinks thing. Like, it does give you, I've been talking a lot. Excuse my talking. But I was saying, Hore, when it comes to lack of motivation, I just feel like one thing that works for me when it comes to lack of motivation is change of scenery, change of environment. That's one thing. Like, being able to switch environments going from this place to another, like changing where you are. That's one thing that has worked for me, I would say, sort of. Well, it has worked for me in a sense, yeah, maybe I'm demotivated because of this desk. There was a point whereby I thought desk or something, well, because I just couldn't get myself to study. So I just went out to a different place and tried studying there. Another thing that works is actually studying something else. Like this is where I call it surprise. You need to surprise yourself. So how this goes is that you are demotivated to study the maths, right? Or let's say you are demotivated to just start studying Euclidean geometry. Let me be more specific. You look at a question you don't understand, so you just lose motivation. What you do, open that question paper, start an algebra question, answer that algebra question, patla, 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 you're flowing. The energy is building up while you are answering that algebra question. And what you do, surprise, put that algebra away, put that Euclidean there while you still have that energy. I know this sounds silly, but it actually works most of the time. In a sense, you trick your brain while it's in that state of developing the motivation. You you build it through something that you can do, and then while not even don't wait to finish it. While in the middle of it, you are doing your algebra there. While in the middle of it, put it away, get the Euclidean geometry, start thinking, because your mind or your thinking maths thinking capacity was activated by that algebra that you did. So now when you come to the Euclidean geometry, it's a thing where your mind is better, is in a more maths state. Like you are in a state whereby you can mathematize better. Oof. Yo, bana, Shakespeare unketsang. But yeah, you're in a state whereby you can think better, and yeah, just surprise yourself, man. So yeah, it's changing your environment. If you can't change it, like even the slightest change in the environment, guys, study on the floor. Like if you see this desk by Loile, there was one time I studied on the floor. Not even one time, more than one time, like so many times. I took my laptop, I took my textbook, started working, and that different change in scenery, it just gives you, it just, I don't know, it does something, man. I don't know what it does, but just try it out when you feel demotivated. And then the second one is that one of switching topics. Surprise yourself, don't forget it. Surprise yourself when you're feeling demotivated. And one more kind of ignoring, what was it? Oh yeah, excuse me, it was on studying with people. Like as much as guys we're all catching the bag, all of us, but then just try as much as possible. Sometimes there are people, like there are people that literally can't do any studying if they are not with people. Like if you are alone in your room, you can't do anything. And if you are that person, there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's something that is okay. Okay, it's not okay because but then it's a thing you already find your people, even if it's on WhatsApp, create a group or something, study with those people, meet up with those people, do the things together. What usually happened with me is that I think I had more than three study groups in matric, like three different groups of people that I studied with. So what happened is that I go to the study group, we study, and then when I leave that study group, I leave with motivation. Like I leave that study group, when I leave it, I have this certain motivation that I didn't have before. Because those people sometimes they push you, but it depends on your group, obviously. If you have a group that's like you, then little of a problem because you guys are all demotivated. But if there's that one person in the group that's like, guys, let's do this question, and then you guys sit down, you try and do that question. When you are feeling down, tell them, hey guys, Nagi, I'm not feeling this thing. Someone sits next to you and they're like, okay, let's do this together. The question reads like this: write the first step, write the first step. So that's very helpful when it comes to having a study group or a group of people, even if it's like random strangers. Like besides the study groups that I had, the physical ones, I think I created more than 5 different groups on WhatsApp, whereby it was like I most of the people I took them from Facebook. Like Facebook has a lot of those groups, grade 12 life science and all. So I post there, I'm like a grade 12 link group study assistance, and most people join that thing. And then when they get there, the thing here, I send a question, someone sends a question, and then I get this sense here, yo, what if this question comes in the exam? And then I sit down and do that one question alone, and in that process motivation is building. Remember, if it's a thing here, if you don't have any motivation, we're not trying to get motivation, we're trying to build our own. You're trying to build new motivation, not the one that you already had. That one is dead. The one of you sitting there and doing the questions is dead. So we're trying to build new motivation, and all these things I'm saying are just ways of building the motivation. So yeah, I did the study groups. And even if you don't have any study groups, guys, just be the bigger person. That's all I'm saying. You don't have any, be the bigger person. Approach, even if it's one of your friends, approach one of your friends and be like, Tommy, let's study together today and this day and this day. Or if you feel like both of you, like Lily too, you have the same mentality. Let's say, my friend, let's go around recruiting people. It's better to recruit people when you are with someone, because hey, imagine you going around alone. Hey, let's form a study group. Nage sharp, let's form a study group. Nage sharp. I wouldn't handle the rejection. Nah, I personally wouldn't do that. But get that one person and say, let's create the study group thing and recruit people. If you guys can't do it, just the two of you, recruit people to do it with you, and you join them, and you guys decide on the things and whatnot. That's what I'm saying. You'll be the bigger person. No one is gonna come and say, let's create a group. No one. Trust me, that's one thing I can tell you. For the rest of this year, no one is gonna come to you and say, come and join my group. So you are supposed to be the bigger person. Obviously, you're both struggling, but be the bigger person to say, I know you're struggling with this. I'm also struggling with this. Let's combine minds. Let's come together and see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very tricky thing, but then at the same time, Joe, that's the main thing. Be the bigger person. That's all I can say. And what was I gonna say? Mm, I was talking on how I have short-term memory. I won't lie. Like, I forget the things I was talking about. Oh, I was on motivation. So I was talking on motivation. I think I already gave 3. The first one is to change your environment. The second one is to surprise yourself, change the topic, right? Or change the subject. Number 3, create those study groups. Be the bigger person. That's one thing I'm saying. Don't say I don't have any study groups. Create them. Be the creator. Of course you don't have them because there's no one to create. There are other people out there who have the same idea of you, or you. I wish I had a group of people who I could study with. So obviously, if you are the person who is creating that study group, you're obviously supposed to be the moderator, because chances are the people that you're recruiting, they have the same that mentality, yeah, or bora or something. So you have to be the bigger person in that group and try and tell those people, guys, Ofentse said that we can get better at maths. Anyone can get better at maths through deep practice. So mainly, I remember this one time, I think it was grade 11. I had a session with a group of learners, and we focused strictly on finance. Yeah, it was finance. Was it finance or probability? One of those two. But we had a sit down. It was me and some of my friends, and we sat down We sat down and we did questions literally on probability over and over and over. And by the end of that session, you could feel the difference. Rio, I came here not even knowing what to do when I get a question like this, but then when I leave the session, you feel so much. You know what I'm saying? So be the bigger person. That's all I'm saying, guys. That's the main thing I have to say when it comes to creating study groups. You are not gonna find them. Are surprised, Tara, here's a study group, come join us. Nah, doesn't work like that. How demure come on, outside here, it's not very demure. So yeah, that's one thing. One more thing. There was one more thing I wanted to say when it comes to motivation. Um, what was it? Okay, I forgot. But just a side note also when it comes to it, get your blood pumping. Like do some strenuous activity, be it exercise or running. If you don't usually run, I don't know, jump, do something like that thing. What it does is that it stimulates your guys. I hope you're writing these things down because now get more and repeat the same things. Please, whatever I say, just write them down so that you don't forget. One thing I don't like is me having to say these things and then 2 months later you find that the same person I was talking to comes and asks the same things, because actively listening is not, passively listening is not very good, because you are listening to me. Yes, you are motivated in this moment, but just try and write some things down that you're going to reflect on after this live, because I'm going to end it very very soon. So after this live, write down some things that you're going to reflect on, right? So yeah, back to strenuous activity. Do something that's going to get your blood pumping. Most of us, okay, not me, but I don't want to say some of you guys, because it will go get snacks, but just for inclusivity, some of us we don't exercise, or so some of us we're not used to exercise and running and all that, but do something that will make you go. That thing is gonna make your brain. I don't know what this thing is called. I wish I had knowledge in these things so that I can provide background, but most of these things I'm saying, I don't know why it's like that, but it actually happens. So try and be that person who tries these things. Do these things, like especially the exercise one, be it jumping, doing squats, doing push-ups, run around the house and come back and sit down and study and see what happens. It might work, it might not work. I never said it's gonna work for you. So it didn't work. I didn't say that. But then yeah, one thing I can say is that there are many ways to combat or to fight this thing, lack of motivation. With procrastination, I already talked about that one. Or it's all about identifying what do you procrastinate to. If you procrastinate to sleep, I can't even say don't sleep, because I get easy, but keep yourself busy. That's the main thing. So try and, when it comes going back to procrastination, try and find something that you're gonna replace with that thing. If you were sleeping, during that sleeping time, do something. Find a hobby, at least do something that's gonna cause you not to sleep during that time that you usually sleep. Wow, there are so many things out there that you can. Yeah. Is my battery low? Okay, no problem. But then it's fine. I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm gonna end the live very soon. I'm just saying that there are a lot of things that you can do to combat lack of motivation as well as procrastination. Those shouldn't be your main enemy, or the main things that you struggle with. Find yourself. You can easily identify those things and fix yourself. It's very easy to become a better person academically if you are very committed, and also if you have the right mindset. That's basically the last thing I'm gonna talk on mindset. Or let me just charge my phone. Give me a second. So that's the last thing I'm gonna talk on. I'm gonna talk on your mindset, guys. Your mindset is very important when it comes to wabona bjano. Okay, so I use my laptop to charge my phone. That's why. Let's come again. That's why. Hence, I removed it from here. But then I was just saying, I was talking on your mindset, right? So when it comes to mindset shift, there are so many things that go into it. You don't just change your mindset in a day or oh, okay, this failure doesn't mean I'm gonna fail the year. I don't know, I got this wrong. Like, having that positive mindset is not something that you develop in a day, or having that positive mindset that you can get better at maths. I can tell you every single day, or you can get better at maths. Mara, if you see yourself not getting better at maths, obviously you're not gonna believe it. Well, one, so it's a thing that goes with the preparation itself. Like, it's something that you build while seeing the change. You can see the change. Obviously, there are certain things that I can talk about, or maths can easily be passed if you put in enough practice, and if you put in the right practice, you can easily pass that subject. But then if tests go by and you see yourself still getting 3 out of 150, you're not gonna believe me, or one. So it goes with the effort that you put in. I can't change your mindset in a day. I can't change the fact that you think Euclidean geometry is difficult in a day. You have to see it for yourself. You have to see your change in marks for you to believe me and say, oh, Ofentse was right. So it's all up to you. I can't change much to your mindset, but I can tell you that it's changeable. If that's a word, it's very much changeable. Maths is a very, I don't like using the word easy, but it's a very passable subject. It's a very passable, that goes for every other subject. You just need the right strategies, right methods, right everything. And I can't talk much on those ones. I already talked about identifying yourself. We are now in September. How many videos have you watched on people giving you study tips? How many? But you're still getting 3 out of 150 or one. So I'm sorry for using 3 out of 150. It's just, yeah, it's the best way I can get to talk to you guys, because if I say failing, yeah, failing is a bit harsh. Obviously 3 out of 150 is harsher, but you get my point. But all I'm saying is that, how many videos have you watched this year? Since January you were so motivated. Or yo, this year I'm gonna be this person, I'm gonna study so hard. Wanna know, look at where you are now. You are here still looking for advice on how to get better. Well, one, so it's a thing, it's not easy, it's a gradual process, it's something that takes time, and it needs a lot of practice and strategies and finding yourself, you know. And just one last thing to talk about is on how what was it, it's on how I forgot. How am I? I wanted to talk, it was about the mindset, but it was something, man. It was related to how people, oh yeah, it was basically on the point on how you were so motivated at the beginning of the year, right? Everyone was motivated. We all want to improve. We all want to get better at maths. But obviously, how you do it is very important. How many videos of how to practice maths have you watched before mine? I only uploaded my video 1 month ago, and before mine, there are 5 others that you watched who were explaining how to get better at maths. But did you get better at maths? Huh? That is the question. Dorangeba Utsisa. Friends, did you get better at maths? Well, one, so so is the thing, Yahore, as a person, I can't get into your mind and force you to to become a better person. You need to explore. That's the key word. That's the word of the night. Explore the different methods, explore the different ways you can get better, see how other people are doing it. But while you are exploring, don't take all the information in at once. There's so many ways on how to practice maths. There are a lot. There are so many ways on how to get better at English, at Afrikaans, at life science, whatever topic it is. There are so many study tips out there, but some may not work for you, and you find that you followed that person's tips, but they didn't work. Or when you tried them out, Mara, you're still at the same place, got 3 out of 150. So it's a very tricky thing in terms of being able to change yourself. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's you having to see what works for you. I already talked about this, but I just want to talk about it again to conclude. It's seeing what works for you. And at the end of the day, you're obviously gonna need maybe some of the advice from my videos. You're gonna need, I don't know, tips from wherever. You're gonna need other people. You're gonna ask other people how they study. But obviously, after applying those methods, be patient, Hanyane, be a little bit patient. Be patient with yourself. Try that method for like a week. Don't try it for a day. And then, like some people, I remember this other guy. I gave him advice, right? He 2 days before his maths test, Motowin texted 2 days before, and they're like, "How do I get better at maths? I'm writing. It was on a Sunday. I'm writing on Tuesday." I'm like, buddy, you're asking me how to get better at maths. A paper that is gonna be 3 hours out of 150. You're asking me how you can pass that paper in 2 days. Come on. Come on. Let's talk business. Come on. So it's a very I can't even say you like it takes time. It takes time, but it takes time with the right strategy. Don't continue with the same method, seeing or hearing no information is entering. Try those different methods for practicing life sciences. Implement them now before your test is upcoming, or before your test gets closer. Try those different methods. See how much information you can absorb using flashcards. See how much information you can absorb explaining the thing to someone. But the active recall, define many any SQ3R, all those different methods. It's a buyer, Joe. There are so much. But you just need one of those for yourself. There's also blurting. There's this other one called blurting. It worked for most people that I know. So you guys should also just check it out on what's this platform again? Sorry, YouTube. Just Google, search, man, not Google. Just search for blurting. BLURTING. BLURIT. Never mind, but you get my point. I hope you wrote that down. Just try and search for blurting method and see how it works. I can't really explain it because, hey, what time is it? I have to like leave now. It's 7. So I can't explain it, but all I can say is that you can only get better as the English is not approving, but you get my point, guys. Please, you can work hard and all, Mara. If you are working hard in the wrong way, you're not going anywhere. So I don't know if you guys have any final questions. Like if you have anything that you're struggling with, you can ask right now before I leave, because I am just gonna end it now. Yeah, I'm hungry. So yeah, if you have any questions, just type it out quickly. If there's something that you're struggling with, or something that you've been struggling with for some time, just type it out quickly. Or maybe you have an upcoming test or something. What's stressing you? Why do you break down? What do you procrastinate to? Just ask. For 2 minutes, and if you don't give me a response in 2 minutes, kazai or what? So yeah, I'm just gonna, let me see. Where are the comments? Which side do they stay? Oh, okay. Uh, oh damn, I missed these comments. Yo. Okay, I'm sorry. Yo, I didn't even realize that there were comments here. Yo, how am I? Okay, let me put my phone and answer the comments. There's one that says, I'm worried about how I have to up. Yo, couldn't be. Nah, give you. I honestly didn't see the comments. So they are hidden. Like it's all why YouTube really fiki. But then it says I'm worried. Oh yeah, couldn't be what I'm worried about how I have to apply with my results. When I tell you, oh, couldn't be gonna be a grade 11. Couldn't be a grade 11 and they only need your final grade 11 results. Like the final isn't like final, the one that you're gonna write in November. So I give you like, okay, this thing is not straight. When it comes to that, I really do feel like, let me sit properly for this one. Like that final grade 11 report is important, is very very important for universities like UP will reject you instantly because of grade 11 results. I don't know about others, but yeah, all I'm saying is that you still have time. When I don't worry, don't worry. There's a lot of advice, there are so many tips that you can implement. There is gang advice. There is so much time that you have to become a better person. One method that I can advise for you is is that the right English? Mm-mm. But yeah, one method that I have is the one that I talked about on doing each topic, like doing specific topic practice. If you're struggling with maths, what are you struggling with in maths? You're struggling with trigonometry. Sit down for that 2+ hours focusing on trigonometry questions. Do that. Obviously, you can't sit down and look at a past paper at trigonometry. You won't know what's going on there. But rather, uh, 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 go to YouTube first, see how someone does it, try and implement it to the question. If you still don't know, I don't know, try YouTube again, come back to the question, back and forth, listening to someone explain, even if it's not YouTube. If at that particular moment you have access to someone, you have access to a tutor, or I don't know, not a tutor, but your teacher, you have access to your teacher, you can, I don't know, ask them or something, and then back and forth between you asking someone and you coming back to the questions, the past papers, and ChatGPT being one of those someones that you ask. So you can ask ChatGPT, explain the basics on grade 11 geometry, and not geometry, trigonometry, and how I can best tackle it. You're gonna get those tips on how to do it. From there, you go to YouTube, you look at one question, you come back, you try a question paper. Chances are the first one you're gonna get it right. You get it right. The second one you try again, you don't get it right. So it's a thing where it's a back and forth process, and you need to be patient with yourself. You need to be very patient. Like I said, different topics have different levels of patience. Don't just do 3 questions in trigonometry and give up and say trigonometry is not my thing. It can be your thing if you make it your thing. You just need to work harder. Okay, I don't like saying work harder, but you get my point. So just do that back and forth when it comes to subjects like maths, and you will see the change before the grade 11 finals. Don't try that method that I'm talking about during your finals. Do not try that method during your finals. It's your time to explore different past papers and look for different questions and different ways in which they ask you a question. That's the time for that, not time for you to understand a topic. You can't be understanding Newton's law during your finals. This is the time to make sure you use every resource out there to understand Newton's laws. So utilize this time that you still have right now and make sure you understand and put in those specific topic practice sessions into place. And I don't want to lie to you, you're gonna get better, and you won't even realize that you're getting better because you're getting better at specific topics. And when you're getting better at those specific topics, overall, wow, now I know trigonometry, now I know this section in analytical geometry. How do you go from 3 out of 150 to a young one something, one sort? So just try and implement that method. It can help you a lot. Let me just check the other question, the other comments. Really, does brain dumping work? I honestly don't know what that is. I can go with some. Okay, before that, really, you wrote life science paper too. I knew everything, but the time they gave us was so little. That's also another. That brings me to one of my points. I don't know if you were here when I started, but I was just talking on how you need to stimulate exam conditions. Sit down for that 2.5 hours down. Sit down and start writing. And while you're doing that thing, it may seem useless, but while you're doing that thing, you're gonna find your brain is gonna find shortcuts. You're gonna develop new methods of being able to answer questions. Like you're gonna utilize your time better. That's all I'm saying. And also, while doing that, you get familiar with certain questions. And then when it comes in the exam, it's a quick thing. There was that thing I once talked about with mental maths. To my friends, right? It's a thing you already. If you ask me what's 36 times 56 and I say 102 first, it's not that I'm good at it's not 102, but I'm just making an example. I don't know what the answer is. Like if you say 36 times 52 and I say 112, it's not that I'm good at maths. I just have a method in which I do that thing. And I am so used to the method in such a way that I repeat it every single time. So when you're stimulating that exam condition, you get familiar to certain things in the question papers. You know what automatically her question the nervous, the answer key neuron. Like you get my point. Like it's a thing where you get familiar to the questions and you spend less time thinking or what was the answer, or you get familiar to your questions and it becomes easier. I don't want to lie to you, so try and stimulate those exam conditions. Obviously there's not much time to do that. I think during my finals I only did like 3 or 4 times, whereby I sat down for 3 hours and I actually did a maths 150 paper, and I could see myself getting better at managing my time. I saw myself, I think for the first maths paper too that I did, I ran out of time. I ran out of time and then I kept on going. For the second one, it was better. I could manage my time. I could do some questions faster. You get a sense of that exam conditions, like that exam sitting. You get that feeling. So I don't know if that makes sense, and I hope that helps for your next time. When it comes to time management, it's not that easy, but then and there are so it's not that easy to manage your time, but through familiarity you get to be able to answer questions faster. So just try that, especially for theoretical subjects, life science, geography. Those things, they have quite a number of repetitive questions, and once you do many of those things, you don't need to think about the answer. So yeah, just try that for your next one, and then yeah, I hope it works. And then you talked about brain dumping. I honestly don't know that. Let me write that down. I'm gonna Google that. I don't know what that is. Brain dumping. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can just try and explain it, but then I've never heard of that in my entire life. So you said how many hours of sleep do you need before a test? Hmm. This is a big one. This is a nice question. I like this question so much. Okay, I don't know why I like it because I don't even have the answer to it. But when it comes to how many hours of sleep do you need, Eju, we are all different. I don't want to lie to you. That's the first thing I can say when it comes to the structure of my answer for that question. We are all unique. Aratswani, but then, and Lina personally, the scientifical 8 hours of sleep. Guys, come on. 8 hours when I'm writing maths paper 2 tomorrow. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? So, but like, I don't know, maybe it works for some people. No, I've never slept for 8 hours before an exam. I get so anxious because I worry, or there are things that I don't know. But in metric, in metric, I got 6 hours of sleep. That's one thing. Yeah, I think that's the optimal amount of sleep that I can advise you to get. 6 is the minimum. I've done 5 quite a number of times. Okay, I'll read your comment on brain dumping now. But I've got 5 quite a number of times, which is not healthy, but it's still okay. But 6 to 8 hours, yeah, approximately. Maraya, 8 hours or more than 8 hours. I don't know when was the last time I slept 8 hours before a test. Obviously, now in uni, it's better. It's very easy to sleep for 8 hours because most of my tests, in fact all of my tests are in like the evening. I write at 6 p.m 7 p.m, so it's very easy to get that 8 hours before the day before. But then I still, yeah, for you guys, when like you're writing in the morning, I really don't know, but 6 to 8 hours, that's the answer I can give you. And then yeah, I'm just gonna read this response on brain dumping. But is a method of like studying for 30 minutes, then after that 30 minutes you take another piece of paper and write down everything you have learned. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, that is blurting. I don't know if you're here when I talked about blurting. It's the same thing. I just never heard of the word brain dumping or the term brain dumping, but it's the same as blurting. They also call it blurting. Some people, or some people like me, I call it blurting. That's what it's called. Yeah, it's a very good method of actually studying theoretical subjects. You basically studying, like you said, studying for 30 minutes, and then write down what you remember, and then you come back, you review that that piece of study. I don't know, the English is not coming together, but you go back to what you were studying and fill in the gaps on the things that you missed. So yeah, it's a very good method. I recommend it. It's what I used for my most part in life science. Why is my lighting like this? Marafed. Yeah, it's what I used for life sciences, and it worked pretty well. It worked pretty well most of the time. Just that I used to struggle with motivation quite a bit in high school. Like I couldn't get myself to study, so that's why I guess I got 100%. I would have gotten my 100% in all subjects, but due to motivation and due to unforeseen circumstances, I don't even have 100 on my statement. Marafed, we move. Wabo. So yeah, I don't know. I said you guys should ask questions, so I'm just gonna give you guys my final word, and then hey, if there are no questions, oh, someone asked about paper two. Yes, paid. Um, yo, guys, I don't know why I didn't see these comments. I really don't know why I didn't see these comments. Like, they don't show every time when someone comments, they don't show up. They just hide. I don't know why it does that. Like, they don't show. Can it? Ish, ish, ish. They don't show. But then someone asked about paper two, your home language. I'm just gonna answer that, and then yeah, that's all. Like, hey, it's already get I know I'm hungry. Tata scream, Tata scream, Tata scream. Okay, let's talk about paper two, like in general. Let's not make it a speed, but paper two literature in general. Uh, what did I do? The paper two. Hey, paper two is tricky. Paper two is tricky. One thing I can say with regards to my poems, so with regards to my poems, it was a thing, yeah, I was fortunate enough to find most of them, if not all of them, on YouTube. I was able to find someone who analyzed the poems on YouTube. So I utilized that. Uh, in a sense. Yeah, or obviously the teacher is going to explain in class, but some of the things you just forget. So I utilize that method of having an extra teacher on YouTube. So I don't know if you are gonna be fortunate enough to find them on YouTube, but with me I found the things on YouTube. And then when it comes to questions, I also had this other document. Honestly, with this one, I really do feel like it's about you exploring resources. When it comes to studying, you study it the same way you study your life science, your geography, but then it's all about resources. I don't wanna lie. Like paper two is about resources. Those summaries, those whatevers that you have. And you go to Google, go to wherever, explore, ask your teacher. Sometimes obviously some teachers, but on offer side, I what extra resources when you're on bribe. Or like but just try and explore resources when it comes to paper two. Like there are so many helpful resources out there that are not used at school. Or one. So it's a thing of you exploring those things and try and look for the different things that you can find online. And yeah, mostly Google. If you try and Google maybe a particular poem PDF, you'll find something, a summary of that particular poem. Leona, it's a thing of breaking down. Give yourself time. Oscar Jaha. Do not practice or study your paper too when you're writing it tomorrow only. Give it time, also break it down and spatialize it. You know what I'm saying? Like give it time to you get my point. Okay, you probably don't, but yeah, something like that. So try and work on that. Look for resources. If you can't find resources, I don't know, comment on this thing and then I'll send I think I still have the ones I used to use in grade 11 and 12 on my laptop for English. And yeah, I still have some of them. And for home language, I also, yeah, I have them. So if you can't find any, only if you can't find any, then you can comment and let me know. And then I'll get your details and send them to you. But paper two is all about connections, like connections of resources, those different resources. Try and pick them up and utilize them. And yeah, and study them. You sometimes they come with questions, you do those questions, you get your marks and it becomes very easy. So yeah, let me see. Okay, hey guys, if you guys don't have any questions, nugget of fire, no, let me see. Yo, yeah, I was just saying that if you guys don't have any questions, like if you have anything you want to ask, just ask it now. Because ish, yeah, I'm hungry. I have to. Well, so I'm just gonna wait 2 minutes, and then if they're not okay, I have so many more questions, but you must eat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. If not every Saturday, then every every day for an if not every Saturday for if quite a number of hours, then every day for an hour. I don't know which one would be better. Get to know which one fits into my schedule better, but then I'm definitely gonna do more live videos and I'm gonna talk more. But yeah, when it comes to studying in general, there's a lot I have to spit, obviously, there's a lot I have to cook. But yeah, if you have any questions, I don't know, just comment on any of my videos, I'll see it and then I'll include it in my live video. What time every day, so I know around this time, like 5. Yeah, usually I choose 5 because most people are available at 5-ish, 5-6, around this time. That's when I think I'm gonna do it. And then I'll see. Yeah, I think 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Let me see. Yeah, 5 p.m. On some days, because on some days I have practicals and all that. But 5 p.m. on Sunday, maybe I might do like alternating days, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Get that one. But then if it's on a weekend, then that Saturday will be very long. Like it will be like 4 hours, I think, or 4 to 5 hours. Get that one. But then if it's during the week, it will be for only an hour, and then I'll be answering questions. And yeah, I think that's about it. Ish, yeah, guys. So yeah, I'm just gonna end the live video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much for watching. And yo, I turned the video. Thank you. Aibo, what's going on? Ah! Thank you very much for watching. What's going on? Thank you very much for watching. And YouTube. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one, if there ever is a next one. Maybe tomorrow. I might come back at 5. So thank you very much. Goodbye. It doesn't want to stop. Hey, oh, okay.